Hey everybody, Keith Saarloos coming to you live and direct from the Windmill Ranch and Vineyard in one of the most beautiful times of year that I've ever seen on this property. The hills are green, the water is flowing, and it looks like it's going to be an unbelievable year this year. So let me tell you a little bit about your wine club shipment. This one's kind of a big one for us. We are absolutely celebrating our 10th year of being a tasting room on February 14th. So the day you will be getting your wine is the anniversary of 10 years, the decade of dominance, the decade of decadence, whatever you want to call it, about our family coming together, throwing our front door open, and every person that's seeing this video has been affecting our lives for the last 10 years. We get up every day to do this for you, and it is an honor to work this hard for you. So let me tell you about this shipment. There's a lot going on in it. The first wine we're going to talk about is Brethren, and Brethren is a wine you can't even buy in the tasting room right now. It is a Grenache Noir from the El Camino Real vineyard. We grow Grenache on this vineyard right behind me, as well as on El Camino Real. So we have two different Grenaches, and we always illustrate that with my dad and my uncle, the two brothers. Now, if you think of these two Grenaches, they're the exact same clone of vine planted on two different properties, only 2 miles away. And a lot of people think about grapes as a commodity product, like an apple or an orange, but that's not the case. Think about these grapes as kids, and these kids are raised by the same family, they have the same DNA, everything about them genetically is identical. But just like two brothers who grow up and are in different grades, have slightly different influences, have different points of view, if you will. These two vines being grown only 2 miles away from each other are just like if you have two kids. Even if you fed them the same thing, raised them in the same house, treated them the same way, they're going to become totally different people. And my dad and my uncle are just that, two totally different people. This Brethren is my uncle. It's our El Camino Real Grenache, grown only about 2 miles away from here. Grenache is the greatest grape on the planet. It just is. It's the wine I bring to every single party. People who taste it say, hey, I like that, because it's Syrah without the bite. It's Cab without the spice. It's Pinot Noir, but fully ripe. It is the most beautiful grape on the planet, and everybody who drinks it loves it. It's actually the most widely planted and most widely consumed grape on the planet, but we're still just catching up. So Brethren, cannot buy it in the tasting room as of right now. And last year we were kind of called Wine of the Year with this wine, so we're excited to bring it to you. The second wine, Extended Family. This one's a little bit of a bon voyage. We've been making Pinot Noir for the last 10 years, and this will be the very last Pinot we ever produce. Now, don't be too heartbroken on that, because we have other varietals that are coming online. This is the last wine that we will ever make that is not estate. And what I mean by estate is we planted it, we grow it, we make it, we sell it only in the tasting room. It is 100% Saarloos. This will be the last wine that ever we produce that isn't. It comes from Santa Rita Hills, which is about 10 miles over my shoulder, and Pinot needs a very specific environment to grow well. It needs June gloom, it needs cloud cover, and you can only grow at about 1 ton per acre. Pinot is a wonderful grape, everybody loves it, but we wanted to make sure that we became 100% estate. So on the label, you'll see a picture of my family on a Airstream vacation where they crisscrossed the country. My dad, my uncle, my grandpa, and a couple of their friends, when they were kids, went around and saw pretty much everything. And I thought it was a fitting label to bid tribute and to say bon voyage to one of the grapes we do love, but we're going to replace it with some unbelievable wines like Petit Verdot and Cabernet Franc. So there's so much on the horizon. This will become an absolute collector's item almost immediately. We've only got about 30 cases left of it, so it's going really quickly. Unbelievable wine. I hope you love it as much as I do. The final wine, and it's really 3 wines. This one tugs at my heartstrings big time. As you can see behind me, we have the big terrace here, which we call the Fat Man. Just behind it, you can see the Little Boy Terrace. And right behind me, down in the bottom, we call this the High Hill. These are 3 different Syrahs, but this vine, that vine, and the vine over there, genetically identical. So going back to that thought process with 2 kids growing up in slightly different areas, this brings it into a micro level. Each one of these hillsides we bottled separately, and each one of them tastes different from each other. And that's because of such a dramatic topography that we have here. I thought it would be fitting with our 10th year to honor my grandfather, the life of Gilbert Saarloos. So on these wines, I'm gonna get a little choked up here. On these wines, we have 3 different eras of my grandfather's life. Everybody is going to receive the little boy. And the little boy is that small terrace just behind this big terrace here. There's only about 12 rows. It's very small, and it's very, very hard to farm. On that label, you'll see a picture of my grandfather riding a little horse back in 1926. And I found that photo at the bottom of a box. I brought it out, and I said, Dad, I think I'm gonna make this a label. And my dad said, where'd you get that? And I said, what do you mean? He goes, I've never seen that photo before. I said, you know who it is? He goes, yeah, it's my dad. And I saw his eyes tear up because he had never seen his father in that position, a boy, happy, unencumbered by life. My grandfather had quite a bit of tragedy that happened throughout his life. He lost his father when he was young and was shipped off to a house down the street because his family had 3 boys, a girl, and a mother to take care of. And after my great-grandfather died, John Saarloos, who we named Courage after, took over the family farm. But this photo was taken before any of that happened. This is our little boy. And I am proud to say that this is one of my favorite wines we've ever made. It is absolutely gorgeous. It is absolutely beautiful. And every time I've opened a bottle, I've had to pause and really think about where we've come in the last 20 years. So that is the little boy, AKA Iowa, named after my grandfather. The second wine in this shipment, and if you're a 6-bottle member, you're gonna get an Iowa and you're gonna get a Family Man. And the Family Man is taken right from this hill right here, the high hill. And that was my grandfather, taken later in his life after he became a father and husband and built a house and did everything in his life to keep his 2 boys together and build a successful life for them. We are standing here today because my grandfather had a dream to do this, and my father made it a reality. And now it's providing for his great-grandkids. Family Man is a wine that is beautiful, it's robust, it's complete. It is another beautiful Syrah that has a richness to it that I had never tasted in our vineyard before. The third wine in that shipment, if you're a 12-bottle member, you're gonna get Iowa, you're gonna get Family Man, and you're gonna get Long Beach. And Long Beach is where my grandfather became a man. On the label, you'll see a picture of my grandfather standing in front of a ship in kind of the prime of his life. He was building ships during World War II in Long Beach. After he left Iowa as a boy, he went to enlist with my great uncle John, and then John got in the military. My grandfather did not. My grandfather was dejected. He didn't really have a home to go home to. He was a 17-year-old man that didn't know where his life was going to go. So he got in a car and he drove from Iowa to California, stopped in Riverside, had some orange juice, which is another great story, but ended up in Long Beach and began building his life. And if you see this label, he is in the prime of his life. Dark sunglasses, white shirt, standing there, strong, and basically the peak of what you think your life is. And that comes from that Fat Man Terrace right there, our favorite terrace. That terrace is on the cover of the phone book. That terrace is iconic in this valley. And I love the fact that we are sharing that wine from that terrace with this photo. We have a lot going on this year. And quite honestly, we have less wine than we ever have because of you. And I am grateful to you. You have gone up in shipments. You have been part of our family. We still have a huge percentage of people who signed up year 1 with us that are still with us. And I am so grateful that we get to do this for you. Without you, this is meaningless. So there's another little piece going on. We are celebrating our 10th year. We have a podcast. It's easy to find on our website. And I am going back and I'm having conversations with people who have been with us from the beginning. And if you would like to be on this podcast, send me an email, we can talk about it. How did you find us? What did we do in your life? How do we change wine for you? I would love to sit and talk to you about it. And finally, if you want to support a little kid going to camp, we got a few of these shirts still available with Cash Saarloos on it that says our family creed, which is we live to honor those that have come before us and prepare the way for those yet to come. So for Keith Saarloos and our 10th year, thank you humbly.